Hi, classmates and teacher. With team will present the first part of a brief history of teaching language. And first, I will begin with the reform movement. And maybe you can read in the screen, but the specialist linguistic as Marcel, Prendergast, and Gown try to promote alternative approach of the language teaching, but they don't have lucky with these ideas. But in the year 1886, and Henry Sweet and Wilhelm Bitter and Paul Pacey and try again with promote this alternative approach, and they have had more lucky than Marcel. And also Henry Sweet, Wilhelm Bitter, and Paul Pacey Foundation and the International Phonetic Association, also called IPA. And the function of this association is that the sounds of any language can word transcribed. And also the goal with this association is that improve teaching modern languages.
Well, some reformers in the 19th century believed that there were like a kind of a specific procedure to teaching a language. And here in this slide we can see some of that points. First, that speaking a language is the main thing. Second, about phonetics, that phonetics must be applied for teacher learning and teaching the students. And the third point is about that learners must first listen to the language before even writing. And the final point is about translation. That reformers thought that it was like kind of better to avoid translation. But in some cases, translation could be a good tool to have a better understanding. Well, now let's talk about the natural methods. The natural method refers to learning a language, I mean the target language, but using a similar process as when we learn the mother tongue. Other believers in this method said that it was not necessary to use translations or even the mother tongue. Instead, it could be transmitted in a direct way. And of course, this is how the direct method was born. Now, the direct method. This method refers to teaching a language in a more aptly way in the classroom, also encouraging the student to use it more spontaneously.
Okay, and also have the verdict method. I resumers that points in just 4 points and is only use the language that is intended to be taught, teach vocabularies gradually, and grammar is taught inductively, use visual material. This method pretend that don't translate nothing. You just need to use the language that you pretend to teach, and also teach vocabularies gradually. That is important because you can't teach a difficult vocabulary in a basic level. So yeah, and the grammar is taught inductively. I will explain this point later, and use visual material. That is important because if you don't use the mother song, the most possible is that you need to use material, maybe I don't know, maybe things, maybe pictures that can you help you to that your students understand better what happening or what you talking about it. And I also have the guidelines for teaching our language. And yeah, demonstrate and act that I mentioned before. It's important that you use your body to explain better what's happening. Okay, ask questions and get the students talking. With this form, with this way, your students will start to speak that language, and you can see if your students understand that you say. The correct, you need to try, don't make mistakes and use sentence. That's the point that I will explain better. If you use sentence, the most possible is that your students learn better the grammar and maybe not in a conscious manners, but they will learn how to use some words or some verbs. And use your lesson plan and follow your plan. It's very important that you, like a teacher, as a teacher, don't change your plan in the middle of the semester, because that can cause some confusions in you on in the learning of their students. And keep in a prepared rhythm, speak normally and speak naturally. With this point, it's important that you talk with confidence, normally and naturally, because if you speak, you don't need to speak slowly or fast. Because if you speak slowly, the students will wait that happening in the real world, but that's not happen. And the native person speak, I don't know, maybe a little fast. And take it easy. Maybe if you use this method, the most possible is that you need to repeat one, two, or three times um, for your students, because they need to understand what you try to say. And that's all of this team. And thank you for paying attention.